Welcome to Feared and Forgotten in Florida. I'm your host, H.R. Gertner, and I'll be your tour guide through all things Florida. It's hard to say whether it's the weather, something in the water, or the lack of seasons, but throughout its history, Florida has been a magnet for all manner of idealists, dreamers, deranged, and glorious humans. Some succeed in their outlandish pursuits, some fail, but all make Florida the wild, weird, and wonderful place it is. Each week on Feared and Forgotten in Florida, we'll examine the escapades of the modern-day Florida man, where lawlessness and a lack of common sense abound, before diving into Florida's past, where similarly crazed individuals thrived. Thanks for tuning in to Feared and Forgotten in Florida. Now on to the show. Very likely originating with an English phrase popular in the mid-1500s, "Kill them with kindness" has lost its original meaning for some Milton, Florida residents, where in January of 2019, a Florida man, 30-year-old Brian Stewart, was overheard by neighbors screaming at people in his home that he would kill them with kindness. When neighbors knocked on his door to ask Stewart to quiet down, he attacked and cut one of his neighbors with a machete named Kindness, with the word kindness emblazoned across the blade. The neighbor sustained a deep cut on his hand. Law enforcement and EMT services were called and arrived quickly. Stewart, who according to witnesses reeked of alcohol, went quietly with police initially, but became combatant after being placed in a police vehicle. Eventually, the police had to taser him to get him under control. Stewart was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but without intent to kill, even though he himself loudly exclaimed that he would kill him with kindness. For a few months in 1810, in the shadow of confusion and disagreement between the United States and world powers France and Spain, the Republic of West Florida arose. The Republic of West Florida grew out of the mess that was West Florida in the early 1800s, when inhabitants rebelled and formed their own independent republic. Disagreements between Spain, the United States, and France over the exact boundaries of the Louisiana Purchase led to a region of land near eastern Louisiana, including parts of Mississippi and Alabama, with no well-defined boundary or any sense or record of who owned what. West Florida included land from the Mississippi River to east of the Mobile River. At the heart of the effort for an independent West Florida reside the Kemper brothers. The Kemper brothers were businessmen and traders who constantly disputed with the Spanish over land rights and claims. The brothers attempted to take over Baton Rouge in 1804 but failed. A more successful rebellion took place in 1810 due to the Spanish's lack of willingness to fight for this unusual and contentious territory. Soon thereafter, the Republic of West Florida was born. Its capital was located at St. Francisville in present-day Louisiana on a bluff along the Mississippi River. While it eventually became an emblem of the freedom of outsiders or rogue Americans, associated primarily with Texas or the Confederacy, the Republic of West Florida created the first single-star flag, consisting of a white star centered on a light blue background. At some point, the flag took on a deeper shade of blue and eventually morphed into the Bonnie Blue flag at the beginning of the Civil War nearly 50 years later. The Republic of West Florida was comprised of a mix of Spanish, French, British, and Americans living side by side. The polyglot republic that defined this American Babel soon succumbed to the weight of more powerful forces, and by December of 1810, the Republic lowered its flag and acknowledged their place in the United States. The United States government claimed that the Republic of West Florida had always been part of the Louisiana Purchase, and as such, part of the United States all along. To this day, certain parishes in Louisiana that used to be part of the Republic of West Florida are known as the Florida parishes. The Florida parishes include East Baton Rouge Parish, East Feliciana Parish, Livingston Parish, St. Helena Parish, St. Tammany Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, Washington Parish, and West Feliciana Parish. Although it didn't last long, the Republic of West Florida is one more example of the wildly independent streak that runs through Florida's history and informs our present still. Thanks again for tuning in to Feared and Forgotten in Florida. We hope you enjoyed the show. To support Feared and Forgotten in Florida, subscribe and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting site. Share the show with someone else and join our Patreon service, through which you'll receive access to new shows prior to public release, as well as an extra episode of Feared and Forgotten in Florida each week, among other perks. Join us next week for another chapter in the misadventures of Florida Man and a trip to Coral Castle. This is your host, H.R. Gertner, wishing you all the best from the Sunshine State.